Welcome, Facebook. Thank you guys so much for joining us today as we broadcast our professional women in real estate. It's so hard to believe that we are already in the third series and the second episode of this third series. And today we're going to be talking about challenges in the workplace. This series is all about the boss lady. Guys, I am so excited to be joined today with our fellow boss ladies, none other than our partner, our friend, our sponsor, Madam Latanya Donaldson. Latanya, welcome back to our platform.
Oh my God, it seems like it has been ages, and yet here we are again.
Here
I
we
am so
are again.
excited to be here, Letitia. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes, of course. As you know, we missed you last episode, but prior to the conclusion of our series two, we found out that you had gotten a promotion. So congratulations again.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes. So we're super excited about that. And in addition to having you on, we are, of course, joined by our new chair of the Professional Women in Real Estate, Madam Tanya Hayes. Madam Tanya, hey, lady.
Hi.
We are so excited to have you here running our platform, getting us all together over here as we are professional women in real estate. So, guys, without further ado, I'm just going to jump right on into it. Where did this whole Boss Lady series come from? Well, we kind of all sat back and we're like, we have so many challenges as women in the workforce. Let's talk about them because I am sure it's not just us, right? It's surely our audience as well. In series two, it was proven to be correct. Our audience said, yes, we have trouble. We have these similar and or same issues. So we decided to focus on it a little bit more. But I'm not going to steal Tanya's thunder. I'm going to go ahead and pass the ball right on over to her and let her introduce our special guest for today.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Madam President. Letitia, thank you, Miss Latanya, for always joining us and having wonderful input. And I am really excited to introduce Erica AC. Is it AC? Am I pronouncing the last name right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So Erica is the head of fulfillment operations and post closing for Truist Bank. So, i.e., she's a certified boss. Erica, I would like for you just to briefly introduce yourself. Just let us know who you are, what you do before we go ahead and move into the episode.
Sure, I would be happy to. And thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm honored to be here with all of you today. So, as you mentioned, I lead our fulfillment operations and post closing team, and that does consist of onshore and offshore. But basically, when you think about operations, we support our sales team and we keep the client in the center of everything that we do. Very important. And so that's inclusive of pre-processing, processing, underwriting, closing, reporting analytics, implementation and execution, post-closing, appraisal review, and I'm sure I missed something in between there, but that gives you an idea. And again, very happy to be here with all of you.
Thank you
Right.
so much. And I'm sure that's just a very small description of what you do. And that sounds like it poses some challenges in itself. I'm in title, so I cannot imagine being over post closing operations alone. Okay, great. So we're just going to go ahead and start off with the episode Challenges in the Workplace. It is one of the top search topics in Google, and women all over are usually seeking assistance or advice and how to face these challenges. So, Miss Latanya Donaldson, I will definitely start with you, especially with your new promotion, which is amazing. What are some of the challenges that you think women still face in the workforce, especially corporate America? And how have you personally dealt with those challenges yourself?
Oh my goodness, that is such a great question. I still think that as women leaders, one of the biggest challenges is just us being at the table. Okay, I think that still remains to be something that women continue to face. And then, as we know, there's been what has come to the forefront or come to the light is the gap in pay. that women all, that they face in corporate America. So, I think those are still some of the challenges that we're dealing with. I will say, with every challenge, we have also seen companies really embrace women. I know Prime Lending has. I'm sure Erica will talk to us about how Truist has. They're really coming around and rallying around women because, listen, they understand. They understand what we bring to the table, and they're starting to recognize that. But as with any movement, there's still opportunity.
Hey, great. So how do you ask for your bag? How do you
How
ask
do you
for the
ask for your
glory?
bag? I need my bag. No, 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 no. Uh, now you guys know I'm gonna come real, right? No, but so here's the thing, as we because I believe that just even apart from women, that's a difficult conversation. So, I would suggest anyone um, who in their rather they're looking to be promoted or in their current role. I think we always have that question: how do we approach this topic? Because it's not an easy topic. But the first thing is, I think you need to understand the dynamic of your role. Okay, I think that you need to educate yourself in terms of what are other organizations paying for that. You need to know your worth, right? And so having all those pieces helps you become confident in having those type of conversations. And sometimes and I'll tell you this, as you guys know, I started when I was 2, so I'm not that old, but I've been in the business for a long time. And and I'm sure Erica would jump in and probably agree with this. As you progress in your career, you evolve, as we all do as people, but what you need out of your career also evolves. Okay, so it's not just about the money. There's that bucket, there's that component. Now, I'm not downplaying it, right? Please, let's be clear. But I'm saying it's a total sum of everything in your life. Okay, what's important to me may not be as important to Erica or Letitia or yourself, Tanya. So I think you need to understand what is important to you in your role. As now I have 2 children. Well, one of them is grown now, one is still in high school. So being here and being able to be on hand to make sure that I'm nurturing her as she, is progressing through this thing called life, it's important for me to be there. So again, I think you have to look at all of those things. Your leadership teams, listen, I think it's always very flattering, when I'm recognized for the work that I'm doing and the commitment to the work. But and, with that, offers come, right? But I think you have to look at everything and not just the bag.
I cannot agree with you more on that point. I think you really have to, one, know yourself, right? And be in control of that, understand your boundaries. If you put you first and you really identify what it is that's going to make you happy, because you're the only person responsible for making you happy, it's easier for you to define those boundaries, and you can have a more intelligent conversation when you are offered a role or when you're going after a new role, to make sure that you stay within it. Because the last thing you want to do is just accept something because of the dollar that's being put in your face and then be completely miserable. That's not good for
Absolutely.
anybody in your household, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And so obviously you are an executive with a mega bank at this point, especially after the merge with BB&T and SunTrust. What would you say, as you were climbing your career, your corporate ladder, has been the biggest challenge for you? And how did you deal with that?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, and I'm sure my answer is going to resonate with a lot of people. So, as I was younger, kind of navigating, it was hard to be seen, and it was even harder to be heard. So, once I was seen, it was harder to let my voice be heard, right? And so, one of the foundational pieces that I learned is to build relationships. I think people underestimate the power of building relationships and building relationships with people that look different than you do, who have different backgrounds. That's so critical to find common ground because you always need someone to speak on your behalf in the room. And as you gain that confidence with those people speaking on your behalf in the room, you are invited into the room. And when you do have that opportunity to be heard, it's very important that you articulate your points, that you know your domain, and that you don't take anything for granted. You continue to foster those relationships. Those simple things, and they really are simple, have helped propel me in my career. And believe it or not, there were many mentors, coaches along the way helping me and saying, listen, you're being too quiet. You are not reaching out to enough people that could be your advocate. You are not investing your time enough in the community, right? I needed all of those people to be there to tell me those things. And so as folks are listening to this conversation, be that for somebody else, because women need to help women.
Yes.
There is space for all of us. There's no reason to be crabs in the barrel. There's no reason to be jealous of someone else's success. You go further when you help others. So I took in that advice, I acted upon it, but I always reach back and pull people up. That is what I feel like I am commanded to do. And I enjoy doing it because I've been helped so much. So just have to keep paying it forward. But hopefully that's helpful.
Erica, you said something, and this kind of takes us off script, but I think that it's going to be important for our audience for us to kind of dive into it a little bit. What you said was, I needed to be seen. And where I'm going to go with this is it's kind of a mixed emotions, right? To be seen. I mean, you are obviously a beautiful woman. And as women in the workplace, being seen is a pro and it's a con. That and that is, and I'm gonna say it's unfortunate because you said to be seen first and then to be heard. Because clearly you know all that it is to know about operations. So what did you do to ensure that your beauty didn't lead, that your brains was the leader of you climbing that ladder?
Yeah, it's a great question because I have been, the rumor mill gets going, right? So I have been promoted into positions, and it's like, oh, it's because she's pretty. Oh,
Yeah.
it's because such and such likes her or whatever, and that's really demeaning.
My
And
goodness.
it really is because I know my domain,
Mhm.
and I did every job that all the jobs that I managed for the most part I have done in one way, shape, or form. I really have worked my tail off to be where I am. I took on jobs that other people didn't want to do because I wanted to understand the role and the skill set required. And so I think it's the way that I communicate and lead. I lead with purpose, I lead with knowledge, I lead with expertise. And so I try to put, the aesthetics out of my mind. And when I have been approached, I have had some crazy things said to me, right? And I have to correct people and bring it right back to center that this is what I'm here to do. I'm serious about my career. So let's talk about that. You got to pivot the conversation sometimes, and you have to show that you are knowledgeable. So when
Yeah.
you can demonstrate that and people realize, okay, you're not just a cute face, you really know what you're talking about, you gain the respect and the
Yes.
confidence of other people, and it starts to go away. But Letitia, I understand where you're coming from, and that was a problem for me earlier in my career, and I felt like I had to prove myself 10 times over
Mhm.
because of that piece of it, and also being a minority, right? So I always felt like I had to understand the information 20 times over than my peers to be seen and to be heard. And to the point of being seen, it's, in this industry, there are a lot of people, right? And so from my generation, I started to see women elevate, but it wasn't minority women, right? So I felt like I wasn't being seen. And so I had to get out in front, volunteer, do things, start to build those relationships and connect to be seen, to even be heard.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I was going with that thought process.
And you have to do all of that without a chip on your shoulder, because then you become the angry minority woman, even though people have demeaned you and said, oh, well, you just got here because you're pretty, or because you look good, or because of this. And then you have to then turn around and walk into a room with a smile on your face. But here's the thing, and Latonya, I am sure, and look, I'm singing a song that we all have sat in the closet saying, why, oh, why? It's a blessing and a curse. But that's the beauty of being a boss woman, a boss lady. Here we are sitting here on this platform. Here you are holding these positions, and you've been able to do it. And every time especially you, Latonya, every time I see you, you have a smile on your face. And I already know the story is no different for you than it is for Erica.
Yeah, and let me just pause and say this, because as I was listening to Erica talk, okay, and I'm sure she's not being modest, but I need the audience to understand, when you are an executive over operations, see, she didn't have to say anything, because being in this business, I appreciate that. Guys, she is the brains of that whole mortgage operation. So I mean, it's a huge position. And and Erica was talking about the relationships. One of the things I say constantly, I stand on the shoulders of others. I stand on your shoulders, and you even know I was standing on your shoulders. Because to Erica's point, it is important. It's critical to your own success that you build relationships, you build rapport. I've had the amazing opportunity to meet outstanding, amazing women in this industry that have contributed, no doubt, to my success. That we weren't so small, to Erica's point, or we didn't have the crab mentality. See, I knew, okay, if I establish this relationship with Erica, I can pick up the phone and call her. In fact, since we've been on this program, I've already reached out to her on LinkedIn, right? Because it's about connection. It's about, and you have to be a confident person to understand that. Because see, none of us, and Sarita always says this all the time, we don't own our titles, right? We don't own those titles. So, I think having we talked about being confident and knowing your position, but also being very humble. Being very humble and understanding that, see, at any given, the moment I stop living or learning, I'm no longer with you guys. You guys will be reading over me. So while I'm here, see, every day I have a responsibility to take it in and to learn, so I can pay it forward.
Right. It's a great point. We learn so much every day. I'm still learning. And
Yeah.
I really do believe that I serve my leaders. I work for my leaders. They don't work for me. I work for my team. They don't work for me. And I have a call every single week. I had it today, in fact, every Thursday at 1 o'clock, with a small group of leaders to hear and connect. And that is one thing that is so important, regardless of how far we elevate in our role. I think, to your point, Latonya, that we are never too big to pause and actively listen, because we have to keep evolving.
Yes. And what you're describing is servant leadership.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. I can remember my early, again, as we evolve, we make these mistakes. And I can remember early in my career as a manager, I thought managing was just that. I was going to just manage everyone. And, I'm grateful and thankful to say I discovered this little tiny book that called Servant Leadership. And I will tell you, it was life changing for me, for my career, and how I looked at it, because Erica just said it. I work for the people that are on my team. It's about servant leadership. And, I have to say, the best model of that is Jesus. He taught us about servant leadership and what that looks like, because it is what inspires people is me inspiring them. So, it's just it's back and forth. And I think when you're able to create that, there are no limits for you and what you bring to your organization.
I agree. Very well said.
Absolutely. Latanya, did you have a question? Another question for
Oh my
Eric?
God, I did. I did. So Erica, here's one I want to ask you. So, according to the Women's Workplace Confidence 2022 report, managers and leaders play the biggest role in women's decreased confidence. Have you experienced this, and what was the outcome?
I did experience that years ago. There was a woman who comes to my mind immediately, who I never felt empowered me to be who I could be, who always had something negative to say. But I thank her for that experience, actually. I truly do thank her because she showed me what never to do to others and how to be a better leader. And so I really strive to have honest, transparent conversations with either the women that I lead or women that I come into contact with who are open to being mentored. Because sometimes we don't see how we show up and we need someone to let us know where we can get better. That has helped me tremendously. And so I try to pay that forward. Now, you have to be open to that interaction. And so when I look back on that experience, that wasn't an experience of care, concern, or love to see you propel. It was more demeaning that I'm nervous you may do better than me, so I'm going to keep you down. And that's not the space that we need to live in. And
Hmm.
so I take the time to mentor people through different forums, and I listen to what women say, and I want them to feel comfortable in the space that they own and know how great they are. See, oftentimes we're taught to really focus in on our weaknesses. To me, if you focus in on your strengths, that's going to build your confidence and you're going to show up the way you need to show up, and you're going to be a boss in that room. But if someone's just constantly telling you what you're not doing well, that's the space you're going to live in. And so I do morning affirmations to this day. I am not afraid to say I'm going to be 50 in 3 years, and I'm sure I'm going to be doing affirmations until the day I leave out of here. But what you tell yourself matters. And so if I get up in the morning and I'm telling myself negative things, how do I go out and lead and inspire my team? It doesn't make sense, right? And so when I'm mentoring someone, I'm focusing in on what they're really good at. What are they passionate about? Because that comes through in a conversation very easily. And I try to repeat that back to them. Are you focusing in on this area? I hear that you're excited about this. Let's focus on some things that we can do to bring out that energy, right? And so some of the things that I'm sharing with women is stop being so hard on yourself. Why is the first thing that you start to communicate is what you don't do well? Now, I'm not saying you can't focus in on those areas and improve your skill set, but focus and leverage what you do really well. And also, this is so important, leverage the strength of other women. So if you notice something in another woman that you are not good at, partner with them, right? Learn that. Don't be afraid of it. Dig in, like be all in on that. And that's why I love the relationships, because there's so many things I'm not good at that I draw strength from other people. And that artillery, those tools, I'm able to come back and be even a better me.
Yes.
That
I'm so grateful that Loretta recommended you for this platform. Like all of these things that you're saying are completely resonating with me right now. You know, I think about whenever you're hearing someone constantly giving you negative feedback, all the time, and public negative feedback at that. I think that says more about them than it does about you. So I totally agree with that. But then the other piece is surrounding yourself with women that basically sharpen those areas in which you're not strong in. And I tell, even with Women's Council, I tell people all the time, I am so grateful for my first vice president. She is a one-on-one building relationships. I am a doer. Like, I like to get stuff done, move on to the next one, and I'm moving fast. But she'll come in and she'll have meetings with the local chapter presidents, and that's a compliment to me.
Yeah.
So together we work well. And that's what strengthens the organization that of Women's Council. I've recognized I don't need to be great at everything. But those things that I need to surround myself with women that possess those skills in effort to get the job done.
That's right.
This just made me what you were saying, Erica. I had a thought. So of course Michelle Obama came out with her book Becoming, and I remember thinking, because going through different periods of my life, and what I had to figure out is I had to unbecome. And I think when you talk about coming out and seeing the negative, see, we have to unbecome those things that we told ourselves we were through life experiences. And because you don't have to hang on to that. And then at that point, you can become and step into the light that was meant for you. Because again, I don't own this position. Someone greater than me said, I need for you to have that. And we don't understand the power of that, because even on the days when I feel like doing it, right? I was destined for this work. So knowing that allows me to be more confident in the gifts, and then being open to gaining more knowledge to be better than I was the day before. And that takes amazing people. I heard a motivational speaker at one time, and he talked about, be careful who's coming here. Be careful. We have to be protective of who we allow here. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Because Letitia, you just said it. You talk about affirmations, Erica, but one of my favorite books, and I keep a pocket one by my bed, is The 4 Agreements. One of those agreements is don't take stuff personally. Letitia, you said it, because the majority of the time it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. So we spend a lot of time taking on somebody else's negative energy, but I think it's an opportunity to check your own self to see where you are, if you're centered. I think it's an opportunity for you to get back and center with your own self, and that comes through affirmations.
Amen. Amen. You got my energy level way up.
Right. Erica, I really do want to ask you, you've obviously did a tremendous amount of work to get to this point in your career. And I really did want to discuss some of the challenges, because especially not only as a woman, but as a minority woman, there's more challenges beyond your sex, right? Beyond being female. So adding on the fact that you're female and you're a minority, have you ever, when you're in the moment, right? So you do your affirmations in the morning, but just like when Madam Letitia said, you have somebody commenting, you have someone questioning you, or you may come off like, the angry Black woman. How do you immediately pivot yourself to then, stay focused? Like, what is the one thing that you tell yourself to stay focused in that moment? Because that must be really challenging to me, especially when you're climbing up this corporate ladder. And, and sometimes I'm sure everybody on this panel can even resonate with this, your expertise being questioned, like you feel like you have to prove your expertise, whereas the next person doesn't. So what do you tell yourself to pivot, to change the energy and stay focused on the fly?
So there are a couple of things that have really helped me. One is to understand that there is power in calmness. And this is something that I really mentor to. When you can just take a deep breath, collect your thoughts, and remember that you are in control, and that you refuse to allow someone else's pettiness or ignorance to get a rise out of you, you come back 10 times stronger. And so it's something that a lot of people will say about me. If you ask people that work with me, what's something that you notice about Erica? And they will say she's very calm. Because I make a point not to let people rattle me, because I know that is sometimes their very MO. And so we're not going to do that. And then the second piece is know how to respond. So know how to respond to ignorance, know how to respond to someone being rude, know how to respond to someone who may be intimidated by you, right? And so they're trying to make you look crazy. Don't feed into it. And so when you respond, I don't know if you all have ever seen the TikToks. I think they're so funny, but there's these TikToks about how to professionally respond. And I crack up every time I see it, because it's so true. It's so simple, right? If someone's trying to get a rise out of you, trying to surprise you with a question, come right back. Don't, have that confidence, come right back at them. And I'll tell you what, I've had people try me and they only tried me once or twice, but not 3 or 4.
Amen.
Yes. It is so funny that you say that. And Madam Tanya and I have had that exact conversation. And I tell her that no one will get something from me that I did not intend to give. So if you come at me with negative energy and I have decided that I am exuding positive energy, you're only going to get the positive energy because I am in control of me.
Right. That's
and
right.
that is then my desire. So that is
I love it.
Mm-hmm. I think, Erica, you're definitely my soul sister. Like, I think I've just decided that. Like,
right there.
I think so too. Definitely.
But the difference is I'm not really all that calm. Like, I'm a jitterbug, so I'm like all over the place. However.
But people receive your message differently, right? So like, I think there's just, when I say power and calmness, Letitia, I also mean people listen to you when you're calm because they know you're serious. And if we get real animated, we take the attention off the message, and now it's more on the animation, and now it's more in the stereotype. And so that's what allows me to be calm, because I don't need for you to get caught up in this over here, because you're going to make that the reason and the excuse. I need you to understand the message. And so if we can remember that, I think it allows us to keep that calmness. And you do have power when you're calm.
Yeah. So true. So see,
Amen.
Already I'm going to start hanging out with Erica, because that's going to be an area she's going to help me.
But we need to bring her back. Like, she needs to.
Right. I would love to come back. And I've already gained so much from the 3 of you. So, that's what it's about, is connection and being together.
So according to the same Women's Workplace Confidence report that came out in 2022, some of the top reasons on what contributed to women's toxic work environment, it was basically a challenging work culture, or it was unsupportive manager, or lack of growth opportunities. And I really wanted to highlight on growth opportunities, because a lot of times when minority women are in executive role positions, there's just one, right? Maybe one, or maybe there's someone over here.
How about none?
Or none.
Yeah.
Or none. But usually the one is the novelty. It's not the standard, right? So in your experience and in your growth journey, in areas where you felt like there weren't opportunities to grow, did you kind of pave that way for yourself? If so, how did you do it?
So I really was vocal about what it is that I wanted to do. Anywhere that I've been, like keeping that network and that connection really strong, I have verbalized what it is that I want to do. And I think that's really important. I don't know how many people really believe in manifestation, but I do, to my core. And so you have to speak what you want to be. And you never know who you may be speaking to that can help you on that journey, right? So you got to speak it. You got to believe you deserve it. You got to believe that you can do it. Because when you speak about what you want, and you know with every intention of your being you can do it, it comes across in a very compelling way than if you speak it from the place of, well, maybe I'm a little timid, I'm not sure, And people need to know that if they give you that opportunity, you're going to be all in, you're going to figure it out, you're going to drive results for the organization. But then you also have to understand where people like you are placed in an organization. And I would also say, don't hesitate to have a male mentor. It doesn't always need to be a female mentor. Men are great people to learn from. One of the things that I learned from a male mentor was he didn't have the skill set to do the job. He didn't even know if he could do the job, but he was going for it anyway because he knew he would get in and figure it out. We always think we have to have everything figured out before we even go after the role. And that just simply is not the case. If you have the leadership capabilities, you may not know everything you need to know technically, but you're smart enough to get in there and figure it out, right? And again, it goes back to leveraging people who have the expertise that can help you along the way. That has been like my motto my entire career. And it has served me well. But I will tell you, I still have aspirations. I'm still looking at the COO role. I'm still looking at the CEO role. And I'm going to keep going. I know I can do it. And there's nothing that's going to stop me from getting there.
Amen. Amen. We are right at our 30, a little bit past our 30-minute mark. But I have to know, because you mentioned affirmations earlier, and in the beginning, you felt like really seen and unheard, and you really had to push yourself to get confident enough to, to build the relationships, to speak up. What is one affirmation that you say that you think has helped you the most? Because I need to write this down.
It's really a simple one. Tanya, it's really simple. I am bold. I am courageous. I am grateful. That's it.
I am bold.
It doesn't get better than that.
Yes.
And I am grateful.
If you guys Google shower affirmations, there's a company that sells them. And I won't do the plug for the company, but if you just Google shower affirmations, you will see them. And they stick in your shower. And so there's a different one for every day. They don't come down. I don't know what the material is, but they stick. And you can take them down and do a whole new batch when you want to. But there's all kinds of different options you have around affirmations. My husband and I absolutely love them. So I would highly recommend it.
So
I love that.
So Erica, you and your husband, you guys share affirmations?
We do.
You know what, Tanya? Tanya, guys, that just may be the answer to us getting and staying there.
But actually, that's a great point, and now that's why exactly Erica just created a part 2.
Exactly,
because now we're going to talk about getting with the right people who affirm you, and you affirm them, and you do it together. That is part 2, and we're going to make you wait for it.
I'm trying to tell you, the next episode is the one thing that has shifted and made the major move in your career. And a lot of times that is what's happening on the home front, what's happening intuitively, internally, and also in your personal atmosphere, your home, your life culture. So that will definitely be on the next week's episode. Thank you so much, ladies. I'm going to pass it off to our Madam President, Letitia, to go ahead and close us out.
Good deal. Well, I would like to extend definitely a thank you to each of you for joining us today. This platform actually means everything to me. I even go back and I watch some of the things that we've talked about, because being here, sometimes I miss some of those nuggets, but I'm definitely grateful. So to our audience, thank you again for joining and supporting us. For those of you that do not know, my name is Letitia Grant. I am the president of Women's Council of National Association of Real Estate Brokers, and I am a boss. So I want to thank y'all once again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you all next episode. Have a great one.